Hello, 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 and welcome to the latest installment of And Sarah Appear, the visual podcast. Of course, my name is Sarah, and thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing this latest installment. So the title of this think piece today, which let me say it was inspired by the latest episode of Shannon Boodram's YouTube channel. I've been following Shannon and Shameless Maya for I think about like 8 years now. I'm big fans of their work. I love that Shannon deals in the sector of sexual education, and I believe she's a certified sexual education therapist. And then like who doesn't love Maya? Like, do you, boo? Like, I love Maya, and I love seeing like her growth and her expansion from when she was just like an everyday awesome content creator. I remember when she did her big chop, she shaved her head, and now she's living in Sweden with her husband, and she has her kid, and I believe she's pregnant with her second one. So I love Shannon and Maya, and I was so glad because the latest episode on Shannon's channel, where she features Shameless Maya, is called Sex and the Saints. And this is a much needed topic. I thought the ladies did fabulous with sharing their perspective and their approach. Even though they're coming from a secular approach, Shannon and Maya, well, Maya is now a Christian, and Shannon came from a Catholicism background, and so did Maya. And Shannon's now husband came from being in a church community where he was pretty much excommunicated out of the church because of, him living in his truth and in his authenticity and being shamed out of the church. So I definitely understand how that can go. I believe like he grew up in the church. So even though they're coming from a secular background, these individuals, in my opinion, were definitely well qualified and equipped enough to give their perspective. And it was so refreshing to see their perspective on it. I wanted to come because I also, like, if you guys don't know, I'll have their channels highlighted like in my description and also somewhere on my video, probably like down here somewhere, because I'm a big fan of theirs. So I definitely like would suggest you run over there, look at their material, look at their channels, and just like take a look at what they have to say, because I do believe in the power of perspective, and I believe that their perspective that they bring to this conversation is very much needed. As someone who grew up in the church, whose grandparents at one time had a church, who left the church, went into paganism, came back to the church, left the church again, went on a spiral of drugs and alcohol, and then, getting back into the church and having all manners of hell just fall apart and happen to me, but still staying in the church. I have had a very interesting relationship with church, but it has made my relationship with God stronger and more authentic. So the title of this video today is being celibate in today's, well, actually, let me back up. Um that's actually, I've got my handy dandy notebook here. Um but the title today of this video is My Celibacy Should Never Be a Threat to Your Choice. I believe that celibacy is something that it's not a bad thing if you practice it, but I'll go into the background as far as my reaction with people knowing that I am celibate. So my first topic question is being celibate in today's church a byproduct of the religious spirit? Okay. So with me, I have been celibate I have been celibate, and the difference between celibacy and abstinence. Celibacy is when you have a commitment to not engage in sex for an extended period of time. Abstinence is when you have a short term commitment to abstain your body from engaging in sex for a short period of time. Now, in the secular world, we have this thing called, no nonsense November, or no fap November. You probably know the actual term for it, but I'm just keeping it PG. But with that being said, in the secular world, people don't really have a problem with going on breaks and allowing their body to do what they call a reset to be able to, not allow themselves to engage in sharing their personal body with another human being. And they honor that, and they honor their higher self, which I believe it's actually an unction from the Spirit of God that is speaking to the spirit of man. And it's just the actual act of being celibate is a response from their soul. Just because you don't go to church does not mean that you can't hear from God. And so, with that being said, I believe that people who are in the secular world who are deciding, I'm not going to share my body with anyone for an extended amount of time, I am going to keep myself whole. I believe they're listening. They call it their higher self, but your higher self is honestly a higher extension of who God is, and it's God speaking to you. So, getting into this, is being celibate in today's church a byproduct of the religious spirit? So let me go into the definition of what the religious spirit is. The religious spirit is a demonic spirit that influences a person or group of people to replace a genuine relationship with God with works and tradition. Okay, so I personally was delivered from this spirit. I had years of low self-esteem, self-limiting beliefs. I also had negative influences and projected emotions that were done through witchcraft and through spell work that were projected onto me young as a child, that allowed me to harbor these feelings of loath and not being worthy. Even as a young kid, it allowed me to harbor these feelings, and I didn't know where these feelings came from. I never communicated I had these feelings. These feelings had me in bouts of depression. So this was obviously, coming from a different realm, attacking my emotions, and it was never something that was dealt with. It was unmanaged pain and unmanaged hurt. With that being said, um, that carried on into my adulthood, and I brought it over subconsciously into my um, salvation. When I gave my life to Christ, I didn't believe that I was worthy of his love. And I believed that in order for myself to be deemed worthy, I had to work to earn his love. Part of working to earn his love was always doing the right thing for the right reasons. And that did not allow me to live an authentic life. It actually allowed me to be robotic. So part of that was, I'm not going to have sex with someone outside of marriage. And the intention behind it was not because I love God too much to hurt his heart to do that to him, but the intention behind it was, I'm not going to do it because it's going to be a better look in the eyes of God. And the better I do to perform to earn his love, the more he will consider accepting me. So, with that, I had to unlearn this mindset of, not only was I not worthy of Christ's love, but I'm not going to be able to experience things that other people are experiencing because, oh, I don't want God to like send me to hell, or oh, God is never going to love me or accept me if I'm engaging in this. That was simply not true. See, when you are actually loving God organically and from a place of humility versus a place of pride. You do obedience effortlessly. You obey him effortlessly. It doesn't take, I'm going to be calculated about what I do, even though in my heart and in my body, I want to perform this. I'm not going to, just because I know that God is watching me, and I know that, any day I could, die and go to hell behind this act. Doing it because you don't want to go to hell versus doing it because you love God too much is going to be easier for you to live your life. That's where the religious spirit had me in a chokehold. The religious spirit basically told me that your salvation is performance based. And this year I encountered going from performance to going into greater worship and greater love for God. And I found myself by finding who he was in my life and understanding that he's my Abba Father, that he loves me no matter what. But with that, there was a caveat. Even though, yes, I was God's child and he has grace for me and there's mercy and there's nothing I can do to ever earn it, um part of my humility walk was still being obedient unto him and not wearing my grace out. But we'll talk about that more in the next installment. Bye for now.